At the outset, I would like to say good day to each and everyone. I am Tikmal Musena Lapitan, one of the resource speaker of today's engagement. At present, head teacher 1 of Caquitugan National High School from Region 2, Cagayan Valley, Province of Nueva Vizcaya, home of culturally vibrant people from the municipality of Kasibu and barangay of Caquitugan. Without much ado, please allow me to read to you the session objectives as follows. At the end of the session, the participants are expected to be updated on the implementation of mother tongue multilingual education, or we call it MTB MLE. Number 2, to know the importance of cultural and linguistic competency among teachers, and number 3, to learn insights from the experiences of parents, teachers, and school heads in the implementation of MTB MLE. Before going further, may I ask you this question. What is cultural competence? The website defines that cultural competence recognizes, affirms, fosters, and values the strengths of individuals, families, and communities, and protects and preserves the worth and dignity of every person. How about linguistic competency? Linguistic competency, according to Nordquist 2015, is the capability of a person that allows him to understand and use a language. Moreover, according to Johnson 2014, living in a global society, teachers are called upon to instruct and work with students with very different ethnicities and beliefs from those to which they have been accustomed. Therefore, it is vital that teachers continuously educate themselves, discovering all that they can about their students and their backgrounds. At this moment of time, allow me then to present to you the research title, Relationship of Cultural and Linguistic Competency of Teachers to Extent of Implementation of Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education, MTB MLE, and Problems Met. The aim of the study was to look into the relationship of cultural and linguistic competency of public school teachers of Solano 1 and 2 districts in the schools division of Nueva Vizcaya to extent of implementation of the mother tongue-based multilingual education. For the first specific question, what is the level of cultural and linguistic competency of public elementary school teachers of Solano 1 and Solano 2 as assessed by themselves? Second specific question was, what is the extent of the implementation of the mother tongue-based multilingual education program as assessed by teacher and school head respondents? The third question was, are there significant differences in the evaluation of the two groups of respondents on the extent of the implementation of the MTB MLE program? While the fourth question was, is there a significant relationship between the teacher respondents' assessment of their cultural and linguistic competency and their assessment on the extent of the implementation of the MTB MLE program? And the last but not the least specific question was, what are the perceived problems met by the school heads, teachers, and parents in the implementation of the MTB MLE program? The findings and discussion were as follows. The teacher's competency on their cultural and linguistic assessment is at 3.26 and qualitatively described as very good. With that result, it could mean that teachers are ready to fulfill the TEP-Ed vision, mission, and core values as RA 10533, known as Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, states to make education to be a learner-oriented and responsive to the needs, cognitive and cultural capacity, the circumstances and diversity of learners, schools, and communities through appropriate languages, of teaching learning, including mother tongue as learning resource. The extent of the implementation of mother tongue multilingual education program as assessed by teacher and school heads respondents was 3.53, qualitatively described as very high. It could be figured out that the extent of implementation overall mean that Solano 1 and 2 teachers who are the forefront or the implementers of the MTB MLE and the school heads alike believe that objectives could be attained and the areas of focus will be met. The teaching and learning process will be noteworthy. The teacher's training and development will be of help, and the preparation of learning resources will be abundant and satisfy the needs of the learners. These resources reflect the customs and traditions of the community people, as well as their culture. It could further mean that their level of hope remain high, that the different components will be achieved by all means. The data could mean that school heads are very much well versed with their roles. One of the roles is autonomy. It is a shift of authority from highly centralized education system, which has been placed for many decades. With this shift of authority, the school has become directly responsible and accountable of teachers and pupils' performance. Benson 2004 recommends that the more appropriate models require more time, resources, and commitment to implement, leaving a gap between even well-intentioned policies and actual practice. She further elaborates that submersion or early use of a foreign medium of instruction does not provide a reasonable quality of basic education. To arrive the answer in problem 3, an independent t-test was utilized on the 5% level of significance. The evaluation of the two groups of respondents and the extent of the implementation of the MTB MLE program. The school heads group got a mean of 3.67, while the teachers group yielded 3.49. The mean difference of the two groups of respondents is 0.18. The test of significance yielded a computed value of 2.00, which is higher than the critical value of 1.960 for 128 degrees of freedom at 0.05 significance level. Thus, there are significant differences in the evaluation of the two groups of respondents on the extent of the implementation of MTB MLE program. Hence, the null hypothesis is rejected. The school head respondents' mean assessment is qualitatively described as very high. This could mean that as administrators, hopes and aspiration of the MTB MLE program is as high as could be for them to achieve. However, this could be further interpreted that the groups of respondents have misalignment or disagreements on different areas of the MTB MLE implementation. The difference could be attributed to the different factors. Teachers being at the forefront of implementation have different experiences and concerns with the school heads. However, these concerns should be settled and given solutions for the betterment of the MTB MLE implementation. As RA 9155 states, involvement and participation of teachers and community stakeholders is paramount towards the realization of school objectives. To arrive at the answer in problem 4, the computed correlation coefficients or Pearson R, data show that there is a marked correlation and very significant relationship between the cultural and linguistic competency of teachers and their assessment on the MTB MLE implementation. This impression is supported by the computed R value of 0.460, which is higher than the critical value of 0.1875 at 0.05 level of significance. The data presented reveal that when teachers' cultural competence increases, there corresponds a very significant increase in the MTB MLE implementation in general. This implies that teachers need to hone their cultural and linguistic competence, which have a strong relationship in the successful implementation of the MTB MLE program. Finally, the perceived problems met by the school heads, teachers, and parents in the implementation of the MTB MLE program were categorized into 3 serious problems, fairly serious problems, and not a problem. And the overall mean was 3.09, qualitatively described as fairly serious problem. Under serious problem, there are technical terms in mathematics and science that cannot be translated in the local language for teaching the subject with a mean of 3.58. The finding of the present study that there are technical terms in mathematics and science that cannot be translated in the local language for teaching the subject is consistent with the findings of Dio and Hamora, 2014, that there are technical terms in mathematics that cannot be or should be translated in their dialect for teaching the subject. While under the fairly serious problems, there are no sufficient assessment tools or tests in Ilocano. MTB MLE teaching instructional materials for grade school are insufficient. Parents or other stakeholders are not involved in writing Ilocano stories that reflect the Ilocano culture. Learning Ilocano is confusing for children. Pupils find difficulty in spelling out Ilocano words. Grade school children within the area have different language orientation or mother tongue. The pupils get low scores in subjects in which Ilocano is used as medium instruction. There is a low retention of Ilocano words and most pupils in the class are not Ilocano. The Ilocano is not the first language of the pupils. Insufficient teacher trainings, seminars, or workshops for L1 teachers. Pupils do not perform well in oral activities using the Ilocano language. Teachers are not comfortable using the Ilocano in the classroom, and there's a lack of teachers who are Ilocano speakers. NACA 2013 states that the problems or complications linked to MTB MLE implementation, if somewhat carelessly handled, would eventually become a sinkhole to lead to doom. While under the problem that is the insufficiency of infrastructures, buildings, and classroom with a mean of 2.32 was not considered a problem. Thank you for your kind attention and mabuhay tayong lahat.